Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do begin, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, quite a number of things have happened. We had Deku, and quite a lot. Now, in part 0, we went over exactly Deku's origin. Whenever the flashpoint happened and occurred, Deku, he was sucked into the planet as the gravity was making the planet implode. Gravity increased and the planet, its own core, blew up. Now, in the canon timeline, Izuku died, but in the Flashpoint timeline, where time, space, and history shifted ever so slightly, this time the rocket made it out into space. It got sucked into the Phantom Zone, and years later, it landed on Earth, where Deku he was taken by Amanda Waller, and if I do have it direct, I believe it's called Department K. Now, with that being said, Deku, a lot happened for him. He begun to be raised by Amanda Waller, and it was quite simple. They wanted somebody like Superman, if not similar. He would do what he's told. He would listen to them. He would be a good person. However, that was the problem. Superman being a good person, it makes him weak. In a way, Superman has learned too much about being human that he doesn't know about being a Kryptonian. And Izuku doesn't have that problem. No, they raised him letting him know from the very beginning. He was an alien. He was somebody foreign to this planet. He grew up knowing about Superman, seeing the feats that he would one day be capable of. And that is something that is vital to Deku's upbringing. Izuku, his life is different. He is willing to kill if ordered to. He listens. And he's even been trained in multiple disciplines, and he has even had access to the Kryptonian archives from his ship. Now, Amanda Waller. She allows Deku to speak with this holographic projection of his family. Izuku, he has shown time and time again that he doesn't have an emotional connection to it. But speaking to it, it does actually bring him a sort of peace. Deku is allowed to speak Kryptonian. And this, it does intrigue him. He's a person from a dying world. He is a god among the humans. And yet, what does he do? He uses his powers to try and help. He goes under training, and he's learned. Intervene and help this planet. Help this world. This world is to be his home. This world is to be a place he can live, a place he can prosper. But this place, it is full of men who want to take over the planet. It is full of creatures who try to attack this planet. This planet, it is under siege by man, monster, and myth. And he is here to try and help. Well, Superman may have problems intervening. Izuku doesn't. Well, he may have problems with killing. Izuku doesn't. Well, he may have human emotions. Izuku, he's learned to put those second, not first. Not like Superman. Now, with that being said, we do actually open to Deku. Deku currently, he's sitting in a chair. And right now, he is taking a deep breath as he is trying to focus. He asks a question. And right now there actually is his father, who could open his mouth and begin to speak. His son does need to understand. Right now, what has happened has been unforeseen. And, well, as he is to put it, he was sent here and was meant to be raised by the native population to help. He was supposed to survive, continue on, give them the history of a dead planet, a dying world. Allow them to understand and know. The people of Earth, they are not alone in the universe. What they need to understand, though, is if they try and go down the same path they did, Krypton won't be the only planet that is dead. their world cannot end up like theirs. Because, well, their world, they descended in the last few days to war. A war that wouldn't have been able to be fought. Not by anybody. Because that war had no winners. It had no enemies. All it had was casualties. Now, Deku is finally going to stand up. And after he does so, he does going to start walking out of the room. As after he does recover, he actually going to turn to somebody, asking them about his current objective. To which he would hear them handing him a file, as he actually going to start reading through it. And right now the person is stared at Deku, who doesn't even bother to try and open it. Now, Deku, he actually does go to get ready with the Suicide Squad. And right now, after he does meet a few of these people, they're kind of surprised. There's there's a fucking kid here. Why is there a kid here? Now, we do actually have Captain Boomerang, who we're going to walk over and actually talk about how they really expect him to work with a kid. Now, they go to stare at the man before going to use X-ray vision. And right now he actually will go to try and look and see about this guy's brain. Interesting. What? Now, Deku will go to look down before actually going to look to get the captain and tell him he might want to quit smoking. What are you talking about? I can see the cancer growing in your body. You should get that checked out. Now, the man is going to somewhat freeze, looking to at Deku before actually going to somewhat flick his cigarette onto the ground and go to put it out. Now, the guy would turn back, asking Izuku if that was a joke or something, because it wasn't funny. Now, Deku would tell him it wasn't, but he should recover in a few weeks. Possibly. Then again, just to be safe, see a fucking doctor. And don't make jokes. He doesn't like them, does he? Now, Boomerang, he's confused. And right now, Deku, we're going to look at a few other members of the Suicide Squad. As right now, we do actually have Killer Croc. We have Bane. We have a few others. I believe Bloodshot is actually a part of DC. Yeah, I believe that's right. We have Bloodshot. We have Katana. We have somebody else. We have Cheetah. There we go. Now, all the members here, they do stare at Deku. And Deku, he does look at many of them. As right now, there is where Amanda, she was going to start giving them a few orders. Right now, she does want them to give the boy combat experience. This boy, here, he lacks a lot. Right now, they want him to understand what it's like to be in a fight. They all have their equipment. So, use it to their fullest advantage. Now, Deku actually going to someone bring his hands up. And right now, everybody, they do stare at Deku. As Deku, he actually would try to rush in and begin a fight. Now, Deku, yeah, he does take on many of them. Bane and Killer Croc are alarmed. This kid is not a fucking kid. He is a beast. And after he does send them both flying, there is where Cheetah, she does actually someone going to bring her hands up. And right now, she does get ready. As they're going to stare at her. Before Cheetah actually does go to bring this thing up and onto her hands. And right now, she actually going to tell Izuku. Amanda told them to use these just in case. She didn't understand why, but she's not going to question it. If these can hurt him, then hey, all the better for her. Now, there actually is Bane, who does try to get back up and onto his feet. And Deku is going to somewhat look over towards him before actually going to look towards Cheetah, telling her about how that does not matter. And Deku currently will go to rush forwards. And right after Cheetah, she actually is blitzed by speed. Deku, he actually going to bring his hand up. Him going to, with a flat palm, smash her up and into the chin. Now, she would go to break a few teeth, and right after being struck with a lot of force, she does actually try and bring her hand down, smashing Deku into the face. And Deku, he actually just take the blow surprised, as the moment he does actually go to someone to look back towards Cheetah, and Cheetah is going to bring up her other hand, Deku actually go to someone to bring his head backwards and go to grab directly at her elbow, before going to kick her feet out from underneath her and throw her towards the ground. Him actually going to directly grab the knuckles off of her hand and look at them, before at least going to realize something. They have magic seals on them. Of course they'd hurt. Now, they're going to stare down at them. And right after he's going to try and bring his hand into a fist to crush it, he does find that it cannot be destroyed. And that it does annoy him. Okay, so the magic will hurt his hand. Huh. Now, they will going to toss us to the ground. And right after fighting off the rest of the Suicide Squad, there is where many of them, they are left not wanting to do that again. And Amanda, she is happy that Deku, he's getting more and more combat experience. He's beginning to understand combat, beginning to understand strategy and skill. They do play a part. He might be one of the strongest people on the planet, but even then, magic and other people just as strong as him, they can take him down. Even a man with a shiny rock could take him down. And that does say quite a bit. Izuku, he might be invincible, but he is not impervious. He will have his own flaws. He will have weaknesses. He does need to understand that. And Deku, right now he's been made well aware of that. However, there actually is another situation. Right now, Deku, he is still being investigated by Batman. Batman, he is still concerned, and he still is intrigued. You have Deku, a possible metahuman, possibly extraterrestrial. That last part is definitely a stretch, but not an impossibility. Now, Batman, he does want to know. Izuku's belts, some of the things he found, kryptonite dust, that shows quite a bit. And then there's actually Superman. He doesn't want him to know about this yet. Another Kryptonian. Yeah, now he has two to worry about. Great. But that's just the thing. Why is this one so much younger? And how are they even on Earth? Krypton was destroyed, what was it, over 20 or so odd years? It's so weird. But then there's Deku. Maybe it was... No, it wasn't 20 odd years. Clark was just born, or was he an infant? Wait, so if that's the case then, Clark being as old as he is, that would mean if he was a newborn, Krypton could have been destroyed longer. Possibly 30, but no, 40? No, that doesn't make sense. How is all this? Now, Batman's confused. He doesn't know how to piece this puzzle together. It's an actual mystery. A Kryptonian who's a teenager, and a Superman who's an adult. If both were born whenever Krypton was destroyed, then how are they both different? So something odd has happened here. Now, Batman, he wants to investigate this. Meanwhile, currently there actually is the young members of the Justice League, or as many people call them, Young Justice. Now, Young Justice has their own assignment. The members of this team, they need to get a few things done. They need to go in and investigate a possible, arms deal. This deal, it could set quite a lot. This man is a very big crime boss, and right now, if he's able to actually secure a contract with another gang, the two can make a lot of money, and they can actually flood the market with illegal firearms, some of which would end up in the hands of criminals. Now, this is where Deku, he actually has come in. He hears about what's going on. Amanda Waller wants these men killed. Amanda Waller, she wants Izuku to take their lives. And she wants him to understand. What he is doing is going to save thousands, possibly, well, hundreds of thousands of people. These people would die because of the weapons. These people would be killed for either petty reasons or because somebody got their hands on a gun and they didn't know how to use it. Right now, Deku is tasked with saving the lives of thousands. But all he has to do is kill a few men. Now, Izuku, he is willing to make that sacrifice. And right now, after he does get to head out, there actually is, let's say, Tim Drake. Now, Tim Drake is trying to lead the current team. And a lot of people here, they don't get along. They all have superpowers. You have Kid Flash. You have Beast Boy. You have, well, Aqualad. And just for simplicity's sake, let's say there's also Starfire and maybe even Raven. Just because I feel like that doesn't really mean... No, that does make up a good team. What was I going to say? There's not really a Teen Titans here, if I do remember the Young Justice universe right. Anyways, I'm sort of just mixing them into DC. They're still possibly a different team, just they haven't formed yet. Who cares? Now, glossing over all that, the Young Justice team, they are actually trying to head in. Right now, Starfire and Raven, they are getting ready. They aren't heading in. They are going to try and check and see if anyone's going to try and ambush the area. And if they do need to, they will take out anybody who does try to leave. And Deku, yeah. Right now, he actually is sitting there. He's floating up in the sky. And he does look down on the current facility. And he is trying to radio back in. As right now, a lot of people, they do try to investigate what's happening. The arms deal does go down. And right now, as people are beginning to exchange information, there is Robin, Aqualad, and Kid Flash. They do go to come in. And right after they do go to burst through the door, there is Deku, who with an immediate sonic boom does move. And right now there actually is Raven and Starfire, who after they heard the boom, they both looked up. And they tried to actually talk about what was going on. And as Robin, or Tim, was sitting there, trying to at least try and get out of gunfire, there actually was Kid Flash. He heard the boom as well, and he did go to look up, as right now the roof does cave in and something does come flying in. It smashing directly down and into a guy, before actually going to somewhat turn and bring its hands outwards. It flying as fast as it can in one direction. And right now it does use its body as a projectile. As the men here, after another wall is torn directly through, and the wind is flying through the entire room, they're caught off guard. Them turning and screaming out in their own language about how a fucking demon came into the room. Now, they talk about how it was as swift as light, and its eyes, they glowed with anger. Now, there actually is where Deku, he does come flying back in. And after he actually does Godorki grab a man by his throat, he will go to lift him up. Before we're going to say in the man's language, ask him exactly where his boss is. Now, there actually is Tim and Aqualad, who when they do go to see what's going on, there is Kid Flash. Right now he does stare at the guy, and he does try to at least keep every detail. The guy, he came flying in. No, that's not possible. But then he killed those guys just by running into them. He went through a wall, but his clothes, they show damage, but his skin, not a single scratch. Now, Kid Flash does try to run over, and right now there actually is where he's running. And Deku is trying to question this person. And there actually is Tim and Aqualad, who they actually do try to call in reinforcements. Now, reinforcements are called, and Star and Raven, they're on the way. However, whenever Tim does actually try and throw a battering directly at Deku, there is where Deku, he actually goes on to bring up his right hand. And right now as Kid Flash did actually try and grab onto Deku's hand, Deku he immediately moved it down before moving it directly into his body. And after Kid Flash did get that wind knocked out of him and he was sent flying backwards, both Tim and Aqualad were caught off guard. As after Kid Flash, he currently is laying on the ground, gasping for air, he actually has someone going to lay on his side. And right now the two do go to stare directly back at this unknown threat. And Tim just tried to call it in. Right now, they are in danger. Now, Tim just tried to call Batman. And right now, Batman, after he does get this alert, at the highest degree that Tim can ever send him, he does call in the Justice League. Right now, this is a life or death threat. All of them have the capacity to be killed. This threat might be a fucking Amazo. Now, Tim does stand there. And right now, after he does go look directly at this madman, he does go to look back towards the person he was talking to, repeating his question as the person is going to give him an answer. Now, whenever they do that, Deku, he does go somewhat twist his thumb out of the way. And right now the person, their neck, it would go to snap. As right now after it does go somewhat twist onto the side, Deku will go to drop them. Before actually someone going to look towards Tim Drake and telling him, he's doing his job for him. Leave. Right now, don't follow him. Now, Deku will go to turn around before blasting directly through the wall and going to try and find the boss. Now, Tim does stare. The guy who just did that. Now, there actually is where everybody, they do try to gain their bearing, understand what the fuck they just got hit by. They expected to take on gangsters tonight, not some super powerful guy. Now, everybody, they do try to give their own report. Wally, this is what he remembers. Tim, this is what he saw. And, well, Aqualad, he does try to comment on it. Everything he saw. This was, well, bad. They weren't ready to handle it. And this guy, he might be a possible league-level threat. And there is Batman. The description matches the person he saw. Everything except for the belt. But there is one thing, though. Wally, or no, not Wally. Kid Flash? He mentioned something. The guy moved fast. Fast enough to hit him. Effortlessly. And that does make a lot of people question something. What is this? Right now, Superman, he does decide to get involved. As that gangster, he's later reported as dead. Now, or not gangster, the person in charge of the operation, they were reported as dead. Now, Deku, he would return back, and he would actually somewhat give his reports. And right now, Superman, he is trying to listen. He wants to try and find out where this person might be. He needs to listen. They talked about how he flew, and if he does have heat vision, he needs to at least keep his senses on high alert. If the two can encounter each other, it can say quite a bit. He can finally meet this mysterious person. He can finally discover if he might be the last survivor of Krypton. And he can try to ask questions. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.